This show is clean, pretty much.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 649. Hello, I am Mike Matthews, broadcasting from the last place on Earth, located somewhere in Podcaster Valley, California. Today, we hear from Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, the Brewmaster, plus it's the finale of my Into an interview with singer-songwriter Robby Cronholm of the band Taxes, and we will find out about the music from a TV show that I never watched.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
But there is something I wanted to tell you was yesterday's show. Splotch.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Yesterday's show had a splotch on my face because I got a little too close to the mop water that the Floyd the Floorman likes to hose down sometimes. Hey everybody, don't you like my rhymes? They fresh. Yeah, what happened was we went back in time because
Mike's Daily Podcast.
This place is also a time machine, and we went back to when Alec Baldwin was popular.
Mike's
long ago.
Daily
And I was watching
Podcast.
The movie The Shadow.
Yeah!
Yes, I paid money to see that. Of course, movie tickets were not so pricey back then. Now I never go see any movies. I talked to a very pretty girl today at Half Price Books because I like to go there to sell my magazines. Because I have a bunch of magazine subscriptions. That's why this show is on top of everything. We're in the loop. Or we wish we were. Anyway, Kelly and I were discussing the Oscars last night. And she said she didn't watch them. I did. I was able to catch certain parts. My favorite part, Bill Murray mentioning Harold Ramis, because the two of them had a feud for many years. So it was nice to see him, pay a little tribute to him in a fun little ad-lib sort of way. And yeah, I can't think of anything else from the Oscars right now. But I will say that Kelly said that I should go see more movies, because I didn't see any of the movies that were nominated this year. Isn't that terrible? Or maybe it's not. But perhaps I should be in the loop. This also I wanted to tell you is I write down some of my notes on this little pad of paper. They're like these little, they want to be Post-its, but they're about the size of a Post-it, but they're not, basically. And this pad of paper used to be about as thick as a brick. And I have been using it now for almost 10 years. And today, this very moment, this very piece of paper, I got to the very last piece, and I'm using it now. And what was funny was it was free. It was from a record label that was trying to promote, and this is back when I was at a country station, they were promoting the band Sawyer Brown. It's not a guy, it's a band. So, you know, they got their first big start on Star Search. Remember that? Anyway, this is the last piece of paper, and I did actually meet the lead singer of Sawyer Brown between the time I first got this stack of this pad of paper and from now that I am using this last piece. So that was another interesting bit of information I wanted to share with you. That, and I was watching some hooligan teenagers. So I don't know what hooligan teenagers are like anymore, because I don't have kids, and I don't really have anyone that has well, I have friends that have teenagers, but none of them are hooligan teenagers. So I watched some hooligan teenagers today in the rough and tumble ghetto world of Pleasanton, California. That's a joke. And I'm sitting there, I'm eating some Jersey Mike's. Another free plug for that place. Damn it. And so the hooligan teenagers of today are doing the same thing that they were doing 30 years ago. They're wearing black, they're sitting around, and they're smoking, and they're kind of playing around on their dirt bikes, on their little bicycle dirt bike things, kind of, hey, I can balance in one spot. And then one guy has got a, pack of cigarettes, and he's banging them over and over again. And that really does nothing. I'm not a smoker, but I know that doesn't do anything. Mike, it moves the tobacco into the direction you want it, so it's packed more. Yeah, you know what? Just roll it your own then. Be a mountain man. Be Altamont. Do it that way. So I was watching them, and then they were singing out loud some song that I didn't know, but it didn't sound like any old song that I knew or any new song that I knew. So it shows you that I'm not a teenager anymore, or a hooligan teenager, and that kind of saddens me. Makes me cry a little bit. I think I'll use this last slip of paper to wipe the tears. Oh, look who just walked in. Hi, Mike. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How y'all doing?
And it's a disgruntled fiddle player, tell you what.
What?
I always wanted to play with the band Sawyer Brown, but I guess they didn't want me.
You auditioned for them?
No.
Oh.
I was too busy forming my party.
What's the name of your party?
The wrong side of history party.
You mean the Tea Party?
Whatever.
You know, you, I'm sure, would be an excellent role model for those hooligan teenagers. They would look up to you, maybe start a better trajectory in their life.
My hand's gonna make a fist and make a trajectory into your face.
I hope not. Look who else just walked in.
Hello there, Mike. I make the root beer. I'm the brewmaster.
Brewmaster, did you make a nice root beer for us today?
Yeah, it's in honor of the Oscars. I made a delicious Ellen DeGeneres Sophie root beer. Oh boy.
Wow, that looks like a... Wow, this root beer is taking a picture of me. This is strange.
No, that is just its molecules collapsing upon themselves and creating another hole in the space-time continuum.
We keep doing that over and over again. It's terrible. Where are we popping up now? Oh, wow, back in time to when I worked at that radio station and my boss gave me that huge pad of Sawyer Brown paper.
Here you go, Mike. I hope you enjoy this pad of paper. It'll really make you go far.
Thank you, boss. Let's get out of here. Get out of the hole in the space-time continuum.
Mark, you really did have Kirk Cameron hair back then.
All the more reason that I'm glad I'm bald now. Mark, I was hoping we'd go back in time, back to when Alec Baldwin was popular. He was so hot.
Benita, I want to go back in time to when you were a hooligan teenager.
Oh, you're such a perv. I love my husband. So I must admit, I never watched Walking Dead. I tried watching it for about 4 seconds, and I went, oh. But I know most people, everybody watches it, so I am in the minority. But this, according to news.radio.com, over the course of nearly 4 full seasons, Walking Dead has used a wide range of music from artists that span nearly every genre and era, including Bob Dylan, Motorhead, the Stanley Brothers, Wang Chung, Tom Waits, and Tom Waits' song Hold On was sung by cast member Emily Kinney. Now, last night for the 4th season, in the episode, they call them episodes, I call mine episodes. That's just how it was called Still. They used music from the indie folk group called the Mountain Goats and their song Up the Wolves.
There's bound to be a ghost at the back of your closet. No matter where you live.
Now, Garrett McElver from Super Music Vision, the show's music supervisors, say that Up the Wolves is a song that showrunner Scott Gimple had been listening to when writing the episode, and he felt intuitively that it would work well to close the episode. The next Walking Dead episode will be called Alone. They like the one-word titles. Alone. How do I get you alone? Oh. So what do you think of The Walking Dead and the music that they pick? Email me, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. We read your comments on the section. Emails from email. Also email me there if you'd like to be a guest on the show or if you'd like to sponsor the show. MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. And check out the website, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Got the blog there, the Daily Podcast picture, and there are links to all kinds of places to become a Mike's Daily Podcast fan. Like, for example, there are links to where to listen to the show in iTunes. Subscribe to the show in iTunes and make sure to rank and comment the show, comment on it, and that kind of thing, because then more people find out about us if you do that. There's also a link to where to listen to this show on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, And if you like this show on the Facebook page, then when I post a new show, share that with your friends on Facebook and more people will find out about us. I'm trying to figure out how to put this on Instagram, but I'm an Insta idiot, so I don't quite. I'll figure that. Any of your suggestions to help me with that, please email me, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. But meanwhile, back at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com, there's also links to where to catch us on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Stitcher. We're on Twitter, Yelp. We've also got a Tumblr, and we got a, it's a good thing to put liquids in a tumbler, especially when you're on a ship, because things tend to tumble on a boat. I get seasick, so how would I know that? I don't know. And there's also a link to the Amazon deal of the day. Click on that and buy something, and you will also help support the show if you do that nice thing for us at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com.
Into an interview.
We're talking to Robby Cronholm of the band Taxes. And he is he's in Portland, Oregon. Are you doing a show tonight, or are you watching one?
I'm just up here to meet with my label and then also to master the remix version of the new record with our producer, our co-producer on this record, who is Danny Syme from the band Phenomena, which is one of my favorites in the whole world. I did not know Danny before this record. I reached out to him, you don't know until you ask.
Right.
And so I asked him, and he said yes. So we are honored to have him be a part of this because, Phenomena is just a great band. If you haven't heard them, they are wow.
No, I've got to listen to Phenomena.
Check them out. They are amazing.
So you're remixing the album It Never Ends, and you think that'll come out what time this year?
Well, our single release is March 13th.
Okay.
It's a song called Lost at Sea.
Ooh, which we're going to play in just a moment.
Great. It's a song about relationship being a metaphor for world and end of relationship being a metaphor for the end of the world. So there's a lot of biblical imagery and
whoa.
I am not a religious man, but I am fascinated by religion.
Okay.
And,
that one song, the one song about the drummer where you talk about where you lost your drummer to heroin use, and then you have that line about how I won't be talking to my friend and I won't be talking to God anymore either.
That's right. That's when I thank you for pointing that line out. I hope you liked it.
Oh my gosh, I think you sum it up for so many people.
Thank you.
Wow.
It seems like a cruel universe sometimes, but yeah, that was my drummer in my high school band, Chad, who was we all, as musicians, I'm sure you can relate to, like, my favorite times making music were currently, I would say, but also being in that garage when I was 16 and just figuring out how to play your instruments and, maybe drinking before you should have been, or I don't smoke weed anymore or do anything like that, but, we were just locked up in a garage for 8 hours at a time just playing music, pop punk at that time, because I'm from the Bay Area. And Chad was my drummer and my best friend, and he had a bad habit, and he tried to kick it. He really fought hard, but it took him in the end. And so, yeah, that song's about Chad. And there isn't a day that goes by that I don't miss my brother. And
wow,
every time I look back at my drummer currently, I just it's impossible not to separate. It would,
right.
You know what I mean? So that song means a lot to me.
Well, a lot of what you're doing for him. You're continuing on the flame and your talent.
That's very astute, actually. I took 10 years off of music and had struggles of my own with certain substances, and when I got back into it, when I sobered up and got back into it, I thought, he kind of passed around the same time, actually. And I just thought, this is it. This is, because connection to to the lost is a hard thing to find, but when you have something like that, when one of your loved has passed and he was a drummer, it's like, what's the easiest way to be in communion with him? It's obviously standing in a tiny space like a garage or a practice space and hearing somebody beat the ever living hell out of the drums. Sorry, do we have to bleep that?
I've got a little thing where I can go bleep. Yeah.
Well, in that case, I'm just kidding.
Let it fly.
I will not. It's about celebrating pain, about celebrating loss, and in doing so, you move. You feel it, you do the sadness, and then you can celebrate it, you know?
Now, were you living in Claremont?
I was actually, yeah. I went to college for 1 year.
Okay.
At Pitzer College in Claremont, California, a small liberal arts school.
Ah.
And I didn't want to go, but my parents were insistent. And I just so happened to move there with my guitarist from my high school band. And I dropped out after a year because we got signed to Warner Brothers. So I was like, see you later, college.
And that was the band Crumb?
It was the band Crumb, yes, absolutely.
So that was based more down there in that area?
Yeah, I mean, we spent about 3.5 years in Hollywood on our first record, and we recorded our second down there, and then we moved back to the Bay, and then things kind of fell apart. But yeah, I mean, I'm an old man now. How old are you? Oh wait, maybe your listeners don't know. Do you want to keep it a secret?
No, I talk about it all the time. I'm 45.
Oh, you're 45. Well done, Sam. I'm 38. So.
Oh my God, you're a baby.
What'd you say?
You're a little baby. You're so young.
Tell that to my lower back.
Oh, you know what? You know what helps that is sit-ups, and
okay,
and do like some lunges, kind of work out your core.
Okay.
That's my tip because I used to get horrible back pain, and I'm like, crap, I'm not even in my 40s yet, and I was getting all this back pain. I remember when my dad was still alive, because he used to have horrible back pain. I was telling him how bad my back was, and he's like, "Oh, that's pretty bad." And I'm like, if my dad's telling me I've got back problems, this is not good, you know. But I haven't really had them since. If you do some kind of physical activity like walk, you should stretch. Make sure you stretch afterwards, and that helps out too.
Okay, good. This is helpful. Podcast is not only about music; it's about taking care of oneself.
I want you to stay in good shape, Robby Cronholm, so that we get more music from taxes.
Well, thank you, brother. You lost me at sit-ups, but you had me at taking a walk and doing lunges, so we're good.
Okay. And so, what was Claremont like overall? What'd you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, Claremont. We lived in the year I dropped out. I lived in Pomona. Which at the time was the crypt capital of the world. It was a pretty rough place, but then nuzzled up right next to it was this college town. So it was kind of an interesting dichotomy there. And, I met one of the loves of my life there, Collie, who's the last song on the new record that's coming out is about her. And I haven't seen her I hadn't seen her in 15 plus years. And just reconnected with her. She's here in Portland. I'm about to go meet up with her. So happy ending to that story. But
that's good. That's great.
Isn't that great? Yeah.
Yeah.
Her dad was the English professor at the college, and we studied the short stories of Raymond Carver, who is still to this day one of my favorites. He's a genius and just a great man. And so I had really good times in Claremont. Really great times. I mean, and it was a weird scene, too, because do you know who Matt Nathanson is?
Yes! Very popular guy, huh?
Yeah, so Matt's one of my oldest friends, and he was in college at Pitzer at the same time Crumb was, and the same time I was. So Matt's doing great things these days. There was another guy named Jonah from a band Far. Have you ever heard of a band called Far?
That sounds familiar. Far.
Yeah, they were out of Sacramento. They were friends with the Deftones, kind of that kind of sound.
Oh.
And we toured with them a bunch. But it was just this beautiful little place, kind of off the map. And Danny Elfman from Oingo Boingo also went to Pitzer College.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, so just a weird little school with, like, not many kids in it, but a lot of great music came out of there. So it was a blessed place to be, for sure.
And how do you say her last name, Collie's last name?
Oh, Collie Sanders.
Sanders. Okay.
Yes.
Was she...
Yeah, Collie Sanders.
Was she related to Colonel Sanders?
She might as well have been. Her dad is Barry Sanders, not the Detroit Lions football player. But, yeah, her dad is Barry Sanders. He's been nominated for the Pulitzer a couple times. He is the real deal Holyfield when it comes to mixed sports metaphors, but he is the real deal when it comes to academics in America. He is one of the brightest minds I've ever met. And he's teaching up here now in Portland. And, oh, my God, this guy's brain. I could sit with him for hours.
Awesome. I'm glad you reconnected. And did you date Chloe Savini?
I did. Let's get it all out there.
I dated Dopey Savini. She was she wasn't very bright. Dopey Savini. Did you ever hear that song by Talk Talk called Dum Dum Girls?
Yes, of course. That's now there's a band called Dum Dum Girls.
Yeah, that was the song was named after her, and the group was named after her. She's Dopey Savini.
What was your girl's name?
Dopey. I
can't tell if you're messing with me right now.
I was messing with you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good. You should have stayed in acting. Pretty good. You got me.
All right. Well, no, I have never dated a Savini. And is that how you say it, or Savini?
Damned if I know.
Okay. Well, you've led a fantastic...
If I know. I mean, Sevigny is always... It's Sevigny. Chloe Sevigny. That's how I always said it.
Okay. All right.
And I met her in Claremont, of all places, so...
Well, wow. I've heard interviews with her, and it sounds like she was very artsy when she was younger as well. Kind of just...
She absolutely was. I mean, I think it's one of those things where... I think I was in my dorm room. I was super depressed about breaking up with Collie. Collie's going to kill me if she ever hears this. And
she won't, don't worry.
This senior came into my dorm room, my first and only year of college, and he said, you have to come downstairs. And I was like, you know what, man, just get out of here. I don't got time for this. He said, you have to. And I turned a corner, and I fell in love. And she was on the cover of the first Crumb record that was never released. But she was super artistic, super intelligent, super beautiful, and we had like we had a fling. We lived together in San Francisco, and I haven't spoken to her in 19 years, so there's not much story there. But I couldn't be happier for her. You know.
Well, if you did watch the last season of Portlandia, she did seduce both Fred Armstead and Carrie Brownstein. And
I did watch that, and if there's anyone in the world that could, it would be Chloe. So.
And it all ties back to Portland, where you are right now.
There you go. We've come full circle.
How strange. Well, I have so many other questions, but I'll just get to this one. I think is a really cool one, and that is
okay.
And that is, what is the songwriting process like for you?
Yeah. So the songwriting process goes like this. I'm in the shower, generally. Generally. But also, please no one throw up, no one lose their lunches. But yes, I'm 6'5", and I'm almost see-through. I'm so white. But I'm in the shower, and I have a melody. It just sort of comes to me, and I sing it. And sometimes I have to jump out of the shower to grab the iPhone to record it. And sometimes lyrics present themselves. I find the best songs are the ones that come fully developed.
Yes.
There are certain shower sessions I have where I think it's because I'm a water sign. I love being underwater. I love scuba diving. I love beaches. I love pools. But the lyrics and the melody will just present themselves, and I will sing them over and over and over again until I can get to my tape recorder. And then I lay them down, and then I figure out the chord structure, and then I take it to the practice space. And I'm punk rock because my band is the best thing about me. They are so... Someone once told me, always surround yourself with musicians that are more talented than yourself.
Yes.
And I've done a really good job of that. I really took that to heart because my band is phenomenal. I mean, my drummer, sometimes I laugh so hard when he does a fill that I start crying. Laura Dean, who sings vocals, and Jonathan's bass lines, and Josh's atmospheric guitar work. I mean, it all serves the purpose. So we all split songwriting. It's a team effort, and we just take these little ideas into the space, and then we just bang them out until they become something.
How did you get this band together of all these fantastic musicians?
Oh, well, it's been Brad I met through the person that cuts my hair. I was frustrated not being able to find a good drummer, and I was just asking everyone, and he was cutting my hair, and he said, my wife has a cousin who knows this guy, and that was that. Josh was Craigslist, so don't discount Craigslist. Not only for guitarists, but for a good time, too. And then Laura was our producer. Laura produced and engineered and worked at Tiny Telephone Studios, which is John Vanderslice's studio in the Outer Mission, and she produced the first record. And I loved her so much, I begged and pleaded and bruised my knees until she joined the band, and she finally did. And Jonathan I met through friends, and there you have it. We're just we've been a family for... The proudest thing about this band, no matter what we do, is that we've always been together, and these people are my second family now. So
that's great.
No matter what happens, success or no success or anything else, there's a deep and abiding love that keeps us together.
Now, you once performed at Lollapalooza.
Yes, Crumb did the second leg of Lollapalooza in, what was that, 96 or 97?
Wow.
It was actually the year they dubbed Metalpalooza because Metallica was the headliner.
Oh.
So it was a little weird. But the best thing that came out of that was that Rage Against the Machine was on the second leg, too. And I got to watch Rage Against the Machine, like Evil Empire era, from the side stage multiple times, and I've never seen a band transmit more energy to a crowd than that band did. Awesome!
Wow.
Yeah.
Did Trent give you any advice?
No, but he's about as close to a god as I can think of. I mean, I have followed this man. The Oscars are tomorrow, and he has an Oscar now. So
that's right, for Social Network.
That's right, and every day on my alarm, I wake up to a song from Social Network on my phone. It's called Almost Home, and I think the work that he did with I'm going to blank on who he worked with on that, but wow, I mean, if you're a musician and you geek out on like tones and the way things are recorded and just pristine audio, I don't think there's a man from any generation that has dedicated his life to making beautiful sounds more than that man.
And how did you come up with the name for Taxes, their band Taxes?
Classic question. We get a lot of death and taxes. We've heard that a lot, but it's not really that. It's I had a pocket dictionary from the 1800s. It was about the size of a checkbook, and there were one-word definitions for the words in there, and I was just flipping through it, and taxes said responsibility, which I thought was weird because I mean, obviously it has so many connotations now politically and otherwise, but it was at a time in my life where I hadn't made music for 10 years. And I felt like, hey, like, I owe it to myself. Just a responsibility to myself and others mostly myself. No one else really cares. But, to myself to make music. So I was like, taxes, that's it. It's a responsibility. So I'll give this another shot. And I also like the idea of something taxing you. If something is taxing, or if you're taxed, it's... Sorry. There goes a motor. Oh.
What was that?
That was a motorcycle, and he's obviously compensating for for certain things because... if something taxes you, it wears you out. So I liked that too. That idea that music is both. I believe it's one. I believe that as humans we have these big brains and their gifts and their curses, but overall it's a beautiful thing to be able to make things. And so that's the responsibility part, and then it's also exhausting to try to do so. So that's the tiring part.
Yeah. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Another Kelly Clarkson song.
Yay! You beat me to it. I wish you had left that one hanging.
But and we are getting close to tax day, but I don't want to remind everyone of that, even though I'm friends with my CPA, and she reminded everybody, get your tax forms in. You only have 45 days. It's like, shut up!
It's true. And also with taxes, we have free press every day.
That's right.
There isn't a day that goes by that we're not mentioned on every major news outlet, on television, print, and internet.
Yeah.
Our name is out there.
That's true. I should have said I'm friends with her on Facebook. That's what... Okay. So here's your song. It's called Lost at Sea, and this has to do, like you said, relationships, and has sort of some biblical overtones. But then there's also Laura Dean singing on this too, right?
Absolutely. It's the only thing that makes me sound better is Laura Dean. I can't imagine singing without her. And it's basically... It's sort of eternal sunshine of the spotless mind. It's the idea that even if the relationship goes horribly wrong or ends in divorce or in a nightmare or any sort of way, that it happened for a reason and that we should be grateful for it.
That's right. That's great. You're an awesome lyricist.
Thank you, brother.
And I hope to speak to you again sometime. And good luck with everything. And I want to see you perform in San Francisco. I want to do that. And those are all the things on my bucket list. So, taxes. It's Robby Cronholm. And here's their song Lost at Sea, which they'll be able to find when?
March 13th is a single release, and then the record should be following soon after.
And your website is taxesband.com.
You got it.
And here they are, Mike's Daily Podcast.
Huzzah!
Just you and me. I wish we'd never met. Don't you agree? The one thing we have left is constantly the fear of death. All that glitters gold. But some of us, we've never been told. These metaphors not sure we were anything at all.
And a big thank you to the lovely Sierra Frost of Breakup Records that got me that single so I could play it for you as we go outside the last place on earth where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, California. And a big thank you to Robby Cronholm and the wonderful band members of the band Taxes. Of course, that would be Laura Dean, Josh White, Jonathan Kepke, and Brad Harbidge. Check out their great website, taxesband.com.
And here's today's podcast picture.
And I'm a little late with this picture, but Daniel G. Harmon, who was on the show last week, he is from Washington. So I thought I would post this cool picture that I took when I was in Washington a couple years ago at SeaTac Airport there. The sun was coming through the big window. They got this huge glass window. And I snapped this picture. I hope you like it. You can see it there at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST-MUsic-3-3-14. Mike, I sure like that picture. It makes me feel so good, warm, and bubbly inside. Like nachos? That's so good. I used to eat that a lot when I was a hooligan teenager. Those were great times, huh? Yeah. I want to say one thing that it's interesting when I talk about this podcast to people, my friends, I go, hey, I had on this great guy, Robby Cronholm from the band Taxes. And I talk about all the cool interviews that I get to do with this show, and people look at me and they're like, what's a podcast? As what's his name from the podcast Snap Judgment said, last year, if you told someone you did a podcast and they looked at you and went, what's a podcast? That was on you. But this year, if they say, what's a podcast? You'll need to get some new friends.
Mark, can you tell me, what's a podcast?
Tomorrow, we will try not to get mad. We will hear from the wonderful Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley, and we'll have the feature, News Random, with a mishmash of some very cool, interesting news stories for you right here at Mike's Daily Podcast.
Mark, I made a new root beer. It's called a What's a Podcast root beer.
Has that been used yet for the name of a podcast? Call it the What's a Podcast podcast.
Mark, I'm going to use that last slip of paper y'all got there and you were celebrating about earlier. I'm going to use it to shove it in your mouth.
Okay.
What? There's a zombie behind me? Oh, no. I blew them up.
Thanks.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!